Hi everyone. Who is going to be the Tasmania Devils' first real rival in the AFL? And more importantly, who will become the most hated team in Tasmania? This isn't as simple as just picking one club. There are at least 5 different teams, in my opinion, and each has a real case to become the Devils' first biggest rival. We're talking Hawthorn, North Melbourne, Collingwood, Carlton and Richmond. And the reason this matters? Rivalries define clubs. They build emotion, atmosphere and identity, especially for a brand new team like Tasmania. So let's break this down properly. Every successful AFL club has one team that their fans can't stand. The team that brings the biggest crowds. The team that makes every win feel 10 times bigger. Think of Collingwood versus Carlton, Essendon versus Hawthorn, Geelong versus Hawthorn, Richmond versus Carlton, and the state showdowns such as Adelaide versus Port. None of those teams like each other. In fact, most of them hate each other. For Tasmania, this isn't just about football. It's about state pride. So whoever becomes that rival will shape the Devils' identity for years. Let's start with Hawthorn. Hawthorn Football Club has basically owned Tasmania for years, especially in Launceston. They've played games there, built a fan base there, and created a strong connection with the state. But now, the Tasmania Devils will arrive, and that changes everything. Because suddenly, Tasmania has its own team, and our CEO, Brendan Gale, wants the Hawks gone. So what happens to those Hawthorn supporters? Do they switch or do they stay loyal? I've heard people say, I'll support Tasmania and I'll keep my current team as my second favourite. Well, that's fine. But when they play each other, it's going to be a whole different emotion. That can create a split, and that's where rivalries are born. This becomes a battle for territory and identity, a type of derby or showdown, if you like. Then there's North Melbourne. North Melbourne Football Club spent 14 years playing in Hobart. For some people, they were Hobart's team. They built relationships, traditions, and a supporter base. But now they're gone. That connection is tested. Some fans will move on, others won't. And from North's perspective, it probably feels like they've lost something. That's emotional for some supporters. Now let's talk about Collingwood. Collingwood Football Club is already one of the most disliked clubs in Tasmania. Big fan base, huge media attention, and they travel in numbers. So picture this. The Devils' first big home game, a packed stadium, and it's against Collingwood. That atmosphere would be insane. This is the kind of rivalry that builds fast because the emotion is already there. It's simple. It's everyone versus the villain. Carlton is another interesting one. Carlton Football Club is a historic, powerful club. And like Collingwood, not exactly loved by everyone. They've got a big following, big expectations, and they're always in the spotlight. If Tasmania starts competing with teams like Carlton early, and especially if they beat them, which they probably will, given the current state of Carlton, that rivalry could build quickly. because people love seeing big clubs get challenged. And then there's Richmond. Well, Richmond Football Club has massive support in Tasmania, plus a long history of Tasmanian players and extremely famous players. So this one's a bit different. It's not built on hate, it's built on loyalty, because a lot of fans will have to make a choice. Do they stick with Richmond or do they back their state team? That creates a very different kind of rivalry, one where the emotion comes from being torn between two sides. So if we rank them, early on, Hawthorn probably become the first real rival because of that Tasmania connection. North Melbourne is right there too, especially in Hobart. But long term, it's hard to go past Collingwood. The biggest crowds, the biggest reactions, the biggest moments. And Richmond, that might be the most interesting rivalry of all because it splits the fan base. But now it's over to you. If you can only pick one, who will be the Tasmanian Devils' first biggest rival? Hawthorn, North Melbourne, Collingwood, Carlton, or Richmond? Or maybe you have someone else in mind that I haven't mentioned. Comment your answer below. I will be replying to the best takes. And if you're back in Tasmania in the AFL, make sure you subscribe because this is just the beginning. Right. I just want to give a shout out to a comment from one of the viewers from my last video about whether Devils should be playing their home games. User Chooser says, you're surprised at the CEO's North-South split for 2028 to 2030, maybe because Google has misled you. Stadiums Tasmania shows Ninja capacity at 17,000. For football, this is a little over 12,000 seats and 4,000 to 5,000 standing. At 17,500 seats, UTAS will have a clear advantage in revenue potential. So the suggested minimum of 6 games north and 5 games south follows that logic. Also, games against the bigger clubs would be UTAS. That said, by 2028, there will be some history of membership take-up. Foundation memberships were 22,000 in the northwest, 22,000 in the north, and 65,000 in the south. And playing the blockbusters away from main support for 3 seasons will test the loyalty. Thanks, User Chooser. I didn't actually use Google for the ground capacities. I went to the Oz Stadiums website, which has data on all the Australian stadiums. But your comment is correct and it's very well informed and it's very insightful. So thanks very much. So that's about it for today. I'll see you in a few days for more Devils Chat. But in the meantime, feel free to join our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Devils Chat. And go Devils.